Oh, hi there. It's me, Sierra, the pool toy. Yeah, I was just thinking about stuff. You know, life, my past, wondering what sort of decisions I've made, how things might have been if I had made different decisions. Maybe it would have been better. And that's sort of an easy way to regret things. And regret's a pretty natural emotion to feel. It could be for something that happened very recently. It could be something that happened a long time ago, where you sort of were at this crossroads and you made one decision over another, and now you start to really second guess whether or not it was the right decision that you made. So you think back, maybe if things were different, things would be better. Where if I had gone this other route with my life, maybe things would be better. Maybe I would still be friends with this person. Maybe I would have explored further in this relationship with this other person. But instead, I made some kind of a decision, and that ship has sailed. And there's not really anything I can do about it, except you can still feel this regret. Regret is a pretty common and universal emotion that we feel, and it creeps up here and there. It usually stems from two types of things, which is an action that was taken, such as picking a career path over another, or an action that wasn't taken, like you didn't stand up for yourself. And the reason that regret is such a strong emotion is that we tend to look at our lives right now as they are, and we start to reflect on the past and wonder, how could my life be better right now? If only I'd chosen differently in the past. Instead of my current career, I could have gone this route, and I would be so much better off. It's like, if I had stood up for myself, I would have a much better self-esteem than I currently do. If only I'd taken more risks, I might be in a relationship right now. If only I'd taken better care of my health, I wouldn't have all these issues today. If only I had said this other person wouldn't feel betrayed because I never spoke up. And we imagine all these scenarios in our head, and we also end up imagining that life is just better if we had made these other decisions. Sometimes you might be able to think that. You might think that your job is completely useless and terrible, and then, probably this other career path might have been better. But, it's not very helpful to beat yourself up with regret. Yeah, regret's a pretty tough one to deal with. And unfortunately, there is no time travel. We can't go back and fix or change the decisions and actions that we've already made and get back all that time. But the nice thing about regret is that it at least points us in the right direction of how we should live. Maybe you hurt somebody in the past. It might be nice to send a letter to them if you can still reach out to them. And if you can't reach out to them for whatever reason, you can at least take that into your future relationships and just be better. You can't go back in time and pick your different career path, but you can try to make the most of what you currently have. And if this current situation is severe enough, see if you can use whatever current skill set you developed and move into something else. It might not be the previous career path that you had chosen, but you've lived life. You've developed some skills. You know better about what you're good at. And you can try to take that forward and moving on to somewhere else and seeing where that takes you. Regrets sort of help us get our bearings in life. It's not good to feel the sadness and disappointment. It's kind of like reflecting on things where the whole point of it is to learn. And I think it's really important that we all do our best to keep learning. Don't get too stuck in your ways. If you didn't take enough risks when you were younger, as far as dating and relationships, well, you got some time to make up. And while you can't go back in time, you can definitely start putting yourself out there right now. If you're not great in your health because you neglected to take care of your body, well, now's the time. There's still something you can do to start trying to improve yourself and get a bit healthier. Maybe resolve some health issues that might have developed. And even if you're not too sure about any specific thing that you've run into in your life where you wanted to improve it overall, just the feeling about the regret of how you've lived so far, maybe that'll kick you in a different direction now. Maybe it's the job, maybe it's the relationships, it's just anything can be different. And that's sort of where we need to be with our regret. Regret is natural. Regret happens. You will feel it. You will feel it while you're at work. You will feel it when you're sleepy. You will feel it in the morning. There's all kinds of situations where you will start feeling regret. I'm not the most outgoing pool toy, which made it pretty difficult to date when I was younger. And at this point in my life, I do want a relationship. And so now, I'm putting myself out there. Every couple weeks or so, I'm able to go out and try to meet somebody. Doesn't always happen. I definitely run into a lot of bumps along the way. But I am getting better. And with enough time, and just getting out there enough, hopefully something will happen. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees about anything. Just like if you switch your career path, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be in a better spot either. But we can always do our best to improve. And regret is definitely a motivational factor for that. You blew a relationship somewhere, and you just feel really lousy about it. Well, take those feelings, and in future relationships, one, how you blew it. But two, maybe you'll feel a little more like investing a bit more into the relationship. And just, trying to be a little bit more invested in it. Everyone thinks there's plenty of fish in the sea until they realize how small the lake is. So that's always something that we got to think about. And, keep it in the front of your mind. If you're regretting something, it means that something has, taken a turn somewhere. You're not satisfied with where you are. You don't want to be where you are right now. Whether it's a specific situation or overall with your life. And you're going to feel some regret about it. Of course you are. It's perfectly natural. And we just need to keep pushing forward with it, So what is everything I wanted to say about regret? Well, to summarize, regret is the reflecting upon our lives and trying to figure out why our lives aren't already better than they are. And we take ourselves back into our own past and we look at actions that we took or actions that we didn't take. And we start to imagine that our lives would be better off if we had just made the other decision. Whether we had spoken up or we had gone this other career path. And it's always without evidence, which is what makes it so easy to assume that things would be better. So we don't have a time machine, so we're never going to know. But one thing that we can do is take that regret, those emotions, to sort of recognize that there's something that we would like to be different. And so identifying whatever's different, when you're younger, It could be something as simple as the career path you took. Oh, my life would be better with this other career path. If you're young enough and into it enough, you can change it. If you're older, maybe use that skill set that you have and translate it into a different career path, but something related so you're not starting from zero. If it's a relationship, as you get older, maybe you think that you work too much and you would like to have a relationship. Well, you can't go back in past, so why don't you just go ahead and start putting yourself out there? And start trying to get into a relationship, start meeting people, start working on these things. And when you get older than that, it's probably going to be that you didn't take enough risk. There's very few people on their deathbed who think, I did too much. I did too much. No, it's usually people saying that they didn't do enough, that they wish they had taken more risk, that they wish they had explored more. Whether it's finding a relationship, activities to try, traveling. Opportunities showed up and they said no. So definitely try to say yes to more stuff and see where it leads you. Try to build up that life experience. Imagine being in your 90s and not having life experience. That's not the way to be. So I do hope that this video has been helpful for you. And I hope it's giving you an opportunity to sort of think about your own regrets in your life. And the things that could be better. And the things that you really can't change. And to not let those have so much power over you. So I hope that you have a wonderful night.
Woo!